I work with the meter readings and data that comes straight from the meters at Black Hills Energy. I grew up with a single mother who was a victim of domestic violence by my father. He left when I was about 4 years old, and we struggled a lot through my childhood, and we struggled financially greatly as well. I think as a child I didn't really know any different. I knew that I was responsible for a lot more than some of my friends were. I was the oldest of 3 children, so a lot of the responsibilities fell on me. I was often watching after my siblings and taking care of them while my mother was at work. So it was more stressful than I noticed my friends' lives were. I didn't change really throughout my entire childhood. We were probably around or below poverty level. Throughout my childhood, we experienced homelessness, hunger, no vehicle, having to walk through South Dakota blizzards after school, and that didn't really change until I became an adult and was out on my own. There were many organizations that helped us throughout my childhood. There was Youth and Family Services that provided us with free pre-K education and as well as transportation because we didn't have a vehicle. Feeding South Dakota filled our pantries when we didn't have food. And Salvation Army, I remember specifically because they have the Coats for Kids drive, and that's where we received our winter coats each year growing up. I think living through it as a child and watching my mom struggle. My mom was an amazing person. She is an amazing person, an extremely hard worker. At one point she had myself that was 7 and a 3-year-old and pregnant, and she was also working full-time and going to college on campus full-time. But she still struggled. She was still being evicted from homes and having to stand in line at the food bank with little kids, and being a part of that and watching my siblings and I suffer and the things and trauma that we had to go through because of that was something I never wanted my children to have to go through. And so I have always tried really hard to make sure that we don't go back down that road. It gets better. It gets better, and things aren't so hard if you wait a little bit longer, and that it's okay to ask for help, because my mom did try really, really hard, and she was a very kind mother. She was always there for us, but she needed a little extra help, and it's okay to ask for help. I feel like it's important to give to United Way because of mothers like mine and children like me, because there are individuals and families out there that are struggling and that are working very hard to pull themselves out of the pit, but they need an extra hand. They need somebody to help pull them out, and they can't do it alone. And so I think that giving to United Way helps them find a way to live healthy and happy lives. A few years ago, we lost my mother-in-law to suicide. And she was my children's favorite grandmother. She rode bikes with them and took them swimming and had craft stations set up at her house and liked to give them Mountain Dew when I wasn't around. And it was very, very unexpected and right before Christmas time a few years ago. It impacted them greatly. They were angry and they were sad and they didn't understand what had happened. They started having behavior problems at school, just feeling angry all the time, and had to go to counseling, which didn't help much. And they would wake up with nightmares and cry kind of randomly throughout the day at home, just crying out for their grandma. I had tried to take them to counseling at an organization in town, and they did not respond to that well. I tried to take them to counseling in schools, and that helped a little bit, but the school counselors can only do so much. And I tried buying them journals. That didn't really help as well either. We found Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that has been life-changing for my children. They both have bigs that do what Grandma used to do with them. They take them on bike rides and they do crafts with them, and most importantly, they're a sounding board for them, so they can talk about how they feel, or they can talk about Grandma. Sometimes they have said they don't want to talk to Mom or Dad because they know Mom and Dad are sad too, and so they would hold their feelings in. Now they have a big brother and a big sister that can be their sounding board and listen to those feelings and help them through them. I would absolutely recommend Big Brothers Big Sisters. Like I said, it's been life-changing for my children and gives someone, somebody for them to look up to. And I would just also reach out for themselves. Reach out to a therapist if you need to, or other organizations in town that maybe deal with the loss of somebody by suicide. And again, just don't be afraid to ask for help. Donating to United Way is not only life-changing, but it can be life-saving for mothers like mine, for children like me, for children like my own, and for anybody who is struggling.